What's going on, YouTube? It's Private KJ Shot Callers Podcast back here with another daily NBA video. Today we're going to be discussing the Evan Fournier trade that just went down about an hour or two ago. Obviously, I was not there to break the news on site just because I was at lunch with family and friends. But we are going to be dropping literally back to back, around 3 to 5 videos on the spot today discussing all the trades. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a beat. If it's your first time being on the channel, hi, my name is Kyler, Private KJ. We do daily NBA videos twice a day where we discuss players, trades, and teams during the day/afternoon, and at night where we discuss NBA recaps on all the games and kind of what happened during those games. With that said, though, let's just go ahead and discuss the Evan Fournier and Boston Celtics trade. So basically, this probably won't be as long as the Vucevic or the Aaron Gordon trade because this doesn't acquire, or the Magic never acquired another player. But what this trade is basically Evan Fournier for 2 second-round picks. Now, in my opinion, off of this trade, I think the Celtics absolutely got a steal of a player. To kind of provide some description of Evan Fournier as the player, he's kind of this shot creating shooter. I wouldn't really put him in the shooter category because when I think of pure shooters, I kind of think of JJ Redick, Duncan Robinson. If I had to kind of give a little bit mini comparison, I would compare him to Tyler Hero, or compare Tyler Hero to him, if anything, in the sense that he's a really good three-point shooter, but he can create off the dribble if you need him to. Now, the reason why I mentioned Tyler Hero right now is because even though he has expanded his off-the-dribble game, and it's actually he dribbles a little more than Fournier, I would like to say. But just because at this stage in his career, Tyler Hero isn't the greatest shot creator just because he's so young. And he's going to learn, obviously. But where I compare Evan Fournier is because Evan Fournier, I don't believe, is a natural shot creator, someone you can consistently rely on to get you buckets off the dribble. But there are plenty of times where he can get you buckets. You can run him off the screen, and he can create something off the pick and roll. He can kind of spot up if he needs to. He can catch and shoot. He can do all the things of a really good shooter. I just wouldn't classify him as a great shot creator, nor would I classify him as in a pure shooter. I think he's a mix of in between both. His finishing game isn't too bad either, but I wouldn't also put him as a 3-level scorer. He's just good at like anything involved in the offensive end. Now, defensively, that is a different story. He's not a natural defender. He's not a bad defender, but I think at times he's shown he can be a passable defender, especially considering that the Magic's defense really wasn't as bad as I actually thought when I went to go look up the stats. Not like great or anything, but considering the fact that Nikola Vucevic and Evan Fournier was their top two kind of players, considering the fact that they were missing Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz, their defense was able to at least be passable. Now, like I said, Fournier is not a terrible defender. He's a passable defender. And I think with Boston, though, this is going to be an amazing fit. And I think the biggest win for Boston as a team was not losing Marcus Smart. We all know Boston Celtics fans are huge on Marcus Smart and how they really hate to lose him. But like I said, I think the biggest thing was not losing Marcus Smart. So what I expect to see out of Fournier in lineups, I do expect him to be the 4th leading shot taker. I do think he should get more shots than Marcus Smart just because I think he's a better and more natural offensive player. But I do expect but I do expect more catch and shoots. I do expect him to get some pick and roll opportunities and to kind of be the secondary ball handler if he plays with the bench unit, which is something they desperately need, which is why I think this is an absolute steal for them, considering they only got rid of 2 second-round picks. I expect some Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, not Tatum lineups. Sorry, not Jaylen Brown. I'm going to say Tatum. Let me repeat that. Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier, Jason Tatum, and Daniel Tice lineups. If you were to tell me Jason Tatum would run the 5, I would not believe you. I don't expect that at all. I do expect Evan Fournier to come off the bench, though, as the 6th man, there's nothing wrong with that. I think he'd be an exceptional 6th man, by the way. Someone you could probably put in the 6th man of the year vote. Obviously, you won't have him because he just got traded, and that's not how the award goes. But I do expect something sort of like that. I expect some Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier at 2, Jaylen Brown, Tatum 4, and Tristan Thompson/Tice at the 5. I expect some Fournier, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, slide someone at the 4, and Tice slash Tristan Thompson at the 5. I expect so many different versatile lineups at the guard position. Now, I do think we can mention this, and I personally don't think it's a concern, but if you want to make the case, I would understand that they might have a little bit of a logjam at the guard position. And like I said, I kind of would understand that, but I do think this slides Peyton Pritchard out of the consistent minutes role, because on my video I made about a week ago talking about the Boston Celtics struggles, I said that they needed to go in the direction with either Robert Williams slash Peyton Pritchard or go ahead and roll with the veterans. And I said that they should prioritize Pritchard and get him into at least a consistent role, whether that's 20 minutes, 15 minutes, make his minutes consistent, because you fluctuating his minutes is not going to help him grow his confidence and anything sort of like that. But with Evan Fournier now acquired, I do expect his minutes to go back down. I do believe, though, that he should be playing more than not Jason Tatum, than Jeff Teague, just because Jeff Teague is atrocious this season. But I do expect with that acquirement that we can see some, let's say, Marcus Smart at the 1 instead of playing Peyton Pritchard, especially when it comes to the playoff, too. I think that's the main thing to look out for. So we can see some Marcus Smart at the 1, Fournier at the 2, see some Semi Ojeleye at the 3, Grant Williams at the 4, Tristan Thompson at the 5. Like, that's just the main 5 bench unit that I kind of typically think of. And then put Mark Smart in with them, or just honestly put Peyton Pritchard in at the 1. Either way, though, this trade was an absolute steal, just because I would have at least expected the Orlando Magic to at least get some first-round pick. I thought that there was definitely a first-round pick on the table from someone, whether that's late or earlier. And I'm not saying Fournier is that great. I do think at times he was a little bit overhyped. But at the end of the day, in the NBA, you overpay for shooters. And I find it hard to believe that the Orlando Magic were unable to at least get a first-round pick and some sort of player, or get the second-round pick and some sort of young assets. That's kind of my thing that I'm trying to struggle with. Like Aaron Naismith, I kind of find it hard to believe that they couldn't have at least tried to acquire Aaron Naismith from them. And I know Smith hasn't been that great this season, but at the end of the day, he is a young player that they could have at least tried to make it their duty. Now, maybe Boston didn't want to trade them and made it clear that they weren't trading their young players. Maybe that's why. But like I said, I find it hard to believe that there was not a better deal out there than just 2 second-round picks. Now, those 2 second-round picks can definitely develop into something good, but knowing the Orlando Magic's history outside of Dwight Howard, I'm not really sure if I can trust them to draft properly. With that said, though, 2 second-round picks for Fournier still wasn't that bad. You unload that contract, which really wasn't terrible, but like I said, you're unloading that money to free up some cap space, because they're obviously going in a tanking mode. That is now the 3rd player to move on from the Magic, one of the key core players, because that's technically their 4th average, because Al-Farouq Aminu. But I'm talking about that they're finally moving on from that core of Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Fournier, which was going nowhere, at best an 8 seed, at worst a 12 seed, and not making the playoffs. So I think this is, regardless, a win-win scenario for the Magic. If I had to grade this grade, I'd give it a B- to a B, just because, like I said, I do believe that there's no way in hell that I can kind of comprehend, considering that in this today and age that you have to overpay for shooters. I kind of find it hard to believe that there's no way that there wasn't some sort of first-round pick or a young player involved. There's no way that there wasn't a better offer on the table. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm just delusional about Evan Fournier's value, but that's just kind of my thing. And for the Celtics standpoint, I would definitely give them an A to A+, just because they get an extra body for basically free. They, on top of that, get another player that they can put in their depth unit. And I don't believe that they'll put Marcus Smart on the bench, but if they were to, let's assume for a second that they put Marcus Smart off the bench. That's still another person that they can use off the bench. That's another player that they desperately need, just because that bench unit is, like I said, is terrible. With that said, though, we're going to conclude the video there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. With that said, Private KJ out.